Camera.
I totally lucked out.
Trying to be scary with like a bouffant haircut and a peacoat, like I mean, like, and lipstick on. I mean, it's tough. It's very tough to look ferocious.
You're faster than the others, but not stronger. I'm strong enough to kill you.
It's crazy.
I love my job.
I'm excited about it. It's pretty awesome.
It's like a Twilight family.
Yeah.
You know?
I nicknamed it Vampire Camp.
I'm not ending your life here.
I'm dying already. It's quite a. I thought we were doing a little cult movie. No.
And no one knew. No one knew. Not even the producers knew when we were doing it. No one was saying like this is going to be the biggest movie of the year. Blah blah blah.
It's all just so overwhelming right now. I mean, it's just so overwhelming. I can't even really describe it.
It's very frightening as well, though. I mean, when something's so hyped, it's just like when I didn't realize it was going to be so hyped. It is scary.
How old are you?
17.
How long have you been 17?
A while.
We were still shooting and it was like rated amongst the top anticipated films on IMDb. It's truly a phenomenon.
Well, the phenomenon with Twilight has been really interesting for me to process because it wasn't something I expected at all.
I really just felt compelled by the story and the character. I felt a responsibility to her.
Images are flooding.
It's adding a whole new aspect. It's adding actual human life to it.
It's really interesting to me, this story, because where other movies and other books have glorified vampires and made them out to be monsters, this movie and this story tends to show the human nature of them.
Safe! Hold on tight, Spider Monkey.
He's showed us the basics of what a vampire can do, and now it's like you can also have fun with the powers.
I have always loved superheroes. I've always thought that was so cool. And I know that that's, kind of a guy thing to get into the comic books and the superheroes. And so hopefully they'll enjoy that aspect of the movie.
Cut!
This isn't just another vampire story, that there's maybe something more there.
I've always had a dream to play a vampire within my acting career. And really, you always see all those movies with the vampires, they get the scary things that come out and they're all about sucking blood. And the way that Stephanie really has written these books, in a way, it's not a vampire story, it's a love story between vampires and humans.
I'm not scared of you.
You really shouldn't have said that.
Everyone loves, the love story. Girls and guys, even though guys don't want to admit it, a good love story everyone likes.
And the fact that it's set in the world of vampires, guys actually, get into this too. Something cool about having that super strength and super speed. It's not just a story for women.
It's beautiful.
He's got unparalleled senses, absolutely lethal.
I'll do whatever it takes to make you safe again.
Creating your own mythology is tons of fun, and I highly recommend it, because you just get to play with the rules and do whatever you want and construct something that is just your playground.
Because the books are written from Bella's point of view, Stephanie just did such a great job of getting inside the mind of, exactly what it is to be that age, but also exactly what it is to be in love and that passionate about something. So you just feel like, and I can see these guys nodding, good storytelling is good storytelling.
On the surface, this is a movie about a girl who's totally obsessed with the hottest vampire in the world, but that is so not the story. I mean, it's really much less shallow and vain than that.
Just the experience of being a part of something that, I don't know, that's just that is different and is special. Having those memories is kind of something you can take with you forever.
This is wrong, Edward. She's not one of us.
We've seen vampires in London, back alleys and streets, but we've never seen them in the Olympic rainforest.
Here we go. Shooting now, and roll sounds.
Turn away.
Twilight is a story of a young girl that moves to a different town, a small town in Forks, Washington.
And the story starts, it becomes interesting when she meets this character, Edward Cullen.
Edward is the reluctant vampire who falls in love with Bella Swan. He was turned into a vampire by Carlisle, who he's now kind of adopted as his father figure.
Carlisle's kind of put together this coven of vampires.
I think the Cullens are an unusual group of vampires in that they are a family.
And they're kind of all living in this small town of Forks, trying to live a human lifestyle. He kind of doesn't live the normal vampire way.
The Cullens are slightly more evolved. They've learned how to become, they learned how to sustain themselves off of animals, which pretty much makes them vegetarians.
They're soulful. They're a different breed of vampires.
You're impossibly fast and strong. You gotta give me some answers.
I'd rather hear your theories.
I have considered radioactive spiders and kryptonite.
It's all superhero stuff, right? What if I'm not the hero? What if I'm the bad guy?
And I guess when Bella arrives and he can have a connection with the living world again, which is basically one of his only options, is either die or connect with the living world, and Bella allows him to do that. And he can see and feel again through her.
Well, Belle and Edward's relationship was always defined by the fact that he is a vampire and she's not. And so I knew how breakable she looked to him.
He looks like he wants to kill me. But what I think is interesting is that she likes it. I know what you are. Your skin is pale white and ice cold. You don't go out into the sunlight.
Say it out loud. Say it.
Vampire.
Are you afraid?
No. She's the stronger counterpart to this like little pairing. He's afraid and totally conflicted and like tripping out, and she's totally naive yet willing to trust herself.
She is like a soap bubble to him. He knows that one wrong twitch of his finger and he can kill her so easily.
The two of them definitely would die for one another. This isn't real. This kind of stuff just doesn't exist.
Does in my world.
Well, dictated by Carlisle, Carlisle still thinks that even if you're turned to a vampire, you still essentially have a soul, which is against the general myth of what a vampire is supposed to do. And so you can still have some kind of enlightened existence, and you don't have to go around killing everyone.
I just want to try one thing. I don't know how long I've waited for you.
What is going on?
Security guard at the mill got killed by some kind of animal.
An animal?
My family, we're different from others of our kind. I'm not the most dangerous thing out there.
There's this love story about, you know, an immortal vampire falling in love with a mortal human, which is something that you cannot do.
You brought a snack.
James fits into the story of Twilight because he is a tracker, and he basically hunts humans with his 2 cohorts.
Victoria is one of 3 nomadic vampires who you meet in your journey, and keep away.
To me, to James, it's the ultimate betrayal where you know it's doomed from the beginning, so why would we ever do that?
And it's not easy for a vampire
Not if you're a
to have
human.
relationship with a human.
Yeah.
Like, that's actually the most difficult thing.
Yeah. Not if you're that vampire's particular brand of heroin, I think, is the line he says
It's
to
like
her.
staring at a Snickers bar when you're trying to die.
What, nobody's coming after me?
The hunt is his obsession. He's never gonna stop.
I'd rather die than to stay away from you. There's no question, it's like a physiological draw. I mean, there's like, there's something about their makeup that they can't not have one another.
They both know that this is the thing, and that's the completely unshatterable fact that they both have to be with each other.
It's like the Romeo and Juliet of the human vampire world.
You're faster than the others, but not stronger. I'm strong enough to kill you.
In this world, like the title, like the catchphrase, is that what it's the tagline? When you can live forever, what do you live for? And for Edward, it's Bella. You know, when you believe that, you just root for them the whole time.
There's all these things about this movie that makes it so relatable to
and it's present
love.
day, too.
Yeah, and it has this modern take on all vampires.
That's what I love most about it is the romance, but one of them is a vampire, so it does make it intense, and it's hard. Their relationship is very different than a regular romance, obviously.
You are my life.
If anything happens, I swear to God.
Nothing's gonna happen. There's 7 of us and there's 2 of them. And when everything's done, I'm gonna come back and get you. Bella, you are my life now.
So I thought, I've got to meet Kristen. I met all kinds of other girls from all over the world, but Kristen really had something unique that she seemed so accessible as Bella.
Once I read the script, I begged for the audition, and they were like, no, you got it. Yeah, Catherine's gonna come meet you. And we spent 4 hours together, and by the end of it, didn't want to stop talking about the scenes. So it just sort of worked.
I thought that Kristen Stewart was amazingly vulnerable and open and just, you know, so touching.
You're impossibly fast and strong. Your skin is pale white and ice cold. Your eyes change color. And sometimes you speak like you're from a different time.
And then you've got Rob, Edward, who's supposed to be the most beautiful man in the whole world, perfectly sculpted cheekbones. Who can live up to that? Well, actually, Rob Pattinson can.
There was no question when Rob came in. It was like he was the only guy who came in thinking anything other than, like, how to pose statuesque and be, you know, really attractive and perfect. And he looked afraid, and he looked like he had a sense of pain, and he knew why. I mean, to live 108 years by yourself, it's really terrible.
In the script, it said he gives a look so demonic and animalistic that it just scares these men, these fully grown men, to the core. Right. And I just kept coming out the car. I did it once, and I missed my mark. I just almost quit after it. So I was like, seriously, this isn't gonna happen.
Ella?
Thanks. You know, your mood swings are kind of giving me whiplash.
I only said it'd be better if we weren't friends, not that I didn't want to be.
What does that mean?
It means if you were smart, you'd stay away from me.
I think Rob just really connected with Kristen. They had this kind of attraction and sexual tension that was just palpable.
He was the only guy who really actually looked at me and wasn't just totally preoccupied with himself. So he was sort of perfect.
Then ask me the most basic question. What do we eat?
I think it was just something to do with playing that story. It was just kind of... Because every other character in the movie is, like, seemingly only concerned with our relationship. Everything, it was always, like, Bella and Edward, all the time. I guess you kind of, you come in this little bubble.
There's, like, a sense of, like, you're willing to go wherever I go. Like, we were gonna follow each other, and we're gonna do this together. And that was always there. And we both really care about the movie a lot. So we felt like it was a really massive responsibility. How did you get over this?
Standing right next to you.
No, we were across the lot next to your car.
No, I wasn't.
Yes, you were.
You hit your head. You must be confused.
There was definitely some kind of connection when we met.
That sort of thing can't really be defined. It's like, for whatever reason, you, I don't know, you feel like you're really, like you see, not that you see something in the person that nobody else does, but it's just that when you do look at each other, that there's like a moment of like just clarity. There's just truth there. There's honesty.
These two are both incredibly intelligent and, you know, complex people themselves, and they bring that to the screen. They're able to express that.
Okay, well, let's say for argument's sake that I'm not smart. I can see what you're trying to put off. But I can see that it's just to keep people away from you. It's a mask. Did you tell me the truth?
No, probably not. I'd rather hear your theories.
I have considered radioactive spiders and kryptonite.
It's all superhero stuff, right? What if I'm not the hero? What if I'm the bad guy?
You're not.
These guys are Team Edward fans. What is up with that?
He is way too casual about all of this,
He
right?
is. I think it's pretty daunting for anybody to be thrust into that sort of limelight.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Edward is an iconic character at this point. You know, he's the sexiest thing in the world, Edward.
It's so funny because last year, you know, I'm struggling to even get someone to talk to me, and then like the whole world just turns and everybody finds you attractive. It's like, all right.
I don't know how he does it, really. It's you know, and he does it with like this quirky charm that's just kind of rock starish. I don't know how he does it.
The whole thing just seems completely ridiculous sometimes.
Action.
My favorite is the fight scene. It's amazing.
I get to do so many stunts. So I got to do wire work. I got to ride the magic carpet, which is this crazy thing that makes you look like you're walking at 30 miles an hour, which is just everything you ever knew about gravity goes out the window with this thing.
Personally, I love playing the bad guys. I mean, if I had a choice, I'd always go with the bad guys. I feel like they have, I don't know, they're just more to grasp onto.
Tell him to avenge you. Tell him. Tell him.
Lots of stunts, lots of action sequences, you know, it's been really, really cool.
It's quite fun when you're harnessed. I mean, doing essentially things that you could do as a human. I mean, humans can climb trees, but because of all this sort of rigging and stuff, you can just be completely reckless with it. That's fun.
3, 2, 1, action!
When I was writing the novel, I saw the whole thing in my head like a movie. I really wanted to see it brought to life. This looks just right.
People dream about this book.
It's our first day of shooting. We picked the most difficult set ever. Not one shot is easy. Love it. Welcome to Twilight.
You know, it started with the books. I mean, Stephanie is kind of a genius, and so it, and even I read it before it was made into a movie, and it just kind of has that relatability. But then, you know, adding on top of that danger and vampires and sexiness and all that good stuff.
Stephanie wrote such a cool book, and I wanted to just make that real, make it visual, make it exciting, lift it off the page from words into just a thrilling experience that you felt like you were there.
I got the idea for Twilight from a dream, and it sounds kind of cheesy, but it was a great dream. I woke up from it and just sat there thinking about these characters.
Stephanie's created a completely different mythology.
It tells the vampire story in a different way.
And it's very honest. It's really, really honest. And that's kind of what's weird about it.
I was afraid of forgetting the dream because it was so good. I sat down to write it out, and so that first day I wrote 10 pages and pretty much all of chapter 13. And then after that, I just wanted to know what was going to happen.
It's an interesting story. I mean, the books, I read it, and I told everyone I was kind of a fan before I even got the part.
I never sat down to write a novel. It was just a chance to kind of play with the characters in my head. And when I finished it, no one was more shocked than me that I'd actually finished a book.
It's not enough for any of us that this is just a fun, good time vampire romp love story. That's not enough. We want it to be real.
I feel like the only love story that could have that quality is if it's actually put in like a fantasy world. And I feel like this does it well. It pulls it off and you believe it.
Beautiful. Very visually dynamic. It's too bad we didn't have the strength to turn you. Steady kept you this fragile little human.
I get emails from people who feel like my book has actually changed their life, which for me, I mean, it changed my life. And I loved having the chance to really live in the characters, but I was surprised other people had that same experience.
Visually, it's going to be a gorgeous film, and so it's something that they can, you know, put their minds to and actually see something, and hopefully it's something like they imagine.
As the writer, you hope that people go see the film and want to know more and go out and see how the book matches up with it, and that they feel the same feelings that people feel reading the book. I would love it if new audiences just walk out of there caring about Bella and Edward.
It's a great vampire tale, love story. Who doesn't want that?
It's a pretty human, like, straightforward love story, and anybody who's human can relate to that.
Here we go.